I was. You see, I can log it on my phone. But I can't see what that is.
Gotcha. No problem.
Do you think you want to stand there? So my angle it like aiming
Or we just take
Yeah.
a chair there, and we make it stand where we want.
We have one person who's going to be late.
Okay.
Sit there.
Yeah. So I'm going to set this up here. So how far out does that go?
You're in shot. I would actually go a little bit that way. So I'll tell you where you can go. When you're there you're on the border. Your arm is gone, but that metal jug is there. So if he's not going to go beyond the metal jug, yeah. And the other thing we can do is when you sit down, I can just
It has a little rotation lock. Undo it. So now it just spins freely. But like that kind of thing, right? Sure.
I do. If you're going too fast, let's do this. I do love the smell of poitín.
I love the smell of poitín
In the morning. I like the smell when it tastes. Yeah, there's like just a sweeter note to it.
So for me, it reminded me of like was it sherbet? No, it was cream soda. Like the vanilla lemonade. So it's fizzy, but it's,
We think my good face is probably too.
yeah. Oh yeah, cream soda. No. Peter Mulryan Dragon is because the apple brandy softens it a bit, but because it's at cask strength, it still has a bit of punch.
Yeah, there's a lot of apple. That is very apple dessert.
Almost like apple pie that was cooked, like on a campfire dessert. Check one. Check two. I'll let you. Even on like summer rounds.
It's so fancy.
I know, right? I think I'll. Oh, one last gentleman, and then we'll.
How are you?
Good to see. I think there's a spot there by Fanon. Here. How are we? Niall, Cian will check it out. Yeah. All right, folks. All right. Do we not want to drink whiskey, or do we do want to drink whiskey? Yeah. Welcome here to tonight's tasting. All right, come on. Welcome to tonight's tasting Blackwater True Whiskey. Why do we call it that? Well, because Blackwater, whiskey makers, rule breakers, everything you want to say about them. They make really interesting stuff. They make very different stuff. They make some classic whiskies, and they make some very modern kind of takes on classic whiskies. So if you're familiar with someone in the room tonight who might speak a little bit later, Dr. Fanon O'Connor, there's a lot of research recently into historic mashbills that were made around the country in times gone by, and Blackwater are resurrecting a lot of that liquid history. Some of the distilleries are doing that, but we're not here to talk about them. We're talking about Blackwater today. So we've invited Blackwater here tonight, and they've kindly accepted the invitation, and we've got 6 great liquids in front of you, one of which is a poitín, because, you're a fan of poitín.
I am, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So poitín is obviously one of Ireland's native spirits, and we decided to have a poitín as our start to kind of get you into the idea of what's Blackwater's spirit like before we move into their whiskies. We've got some cask pulls, we've got some whiskies that are available on the shelves tonight, and I think that's enough from me. Yeah? Or do you want to hear me talk for about 5 more minutes? I'm going to pass it over to John Wilcox from Blackwater.
Hello. Better for me to be standing or sitting, because I can do both.
Yeah, I get why he calls himself the Distillesaurus Rex, because he was sitting down there, and I was like, oh, that's fine. The man stood up, and suddenly I'm like, oh, well, there we go.
I'm very large just because of the beer, really. And all the corn that we are fed in the States. Corn, they say. Right, my name is John. I'm the head distiller for Blackwater Distillery, and you're very welcome. It's very good to be here in Dublin with you. Unfortunately, you're stuck with me and not Peter. Peter's our storyteller. He's the face of the brand. I'm the troll they keep in the back. So please excuse the cursing and the yelling and ranting. I'll keep it to a minimum if at all possible. We'll start with poitín. We're all familiar with poitín. It's a native spirit here in Ireland. Ignore the definition that is found in the technical file, because we don't give a shit about that. This is a new make whiskey. This is the core or the foundation of many of our pot stills. A very strong malt backbone, roughly 15% oats, a wee bit of turf, because turf is the best. And this one is particularly unusual in the fact that we added seaweed harvested along the Copper Coast, dillisk, sugar kelp, and carrageen that was harvested by the sea witch herself, which I don't know what her actual name is. She's just the sea witch. And she charged a very pretty penny for the seaweed that she brought to us. But it was added during the respiration phase of the malting. We would add it to the water to do some water chemistry, right? The grain, as it's respirating, as it's pulling in the water, it's pulling in some of those very nice saline, mineral, seaweed, vegetal notes that throughout the process from brewing and then first and second pass, small remnants of it remain. So ideally, you'll catch elements of that in the background. Bottle is at 50% for a very classic moonshine strength, because that's how we do it stateside. Yeah, this is something that we would put into a barrel and would become a whiskey at some point. And we have decided instead to put it out as a poitín. Please enjoy.
It's delicious.
Thank you. And I'll be here for questions. I don't know how other people do tastings. I'm not here to tell you what to taste. I'm not here to tell you what you're smelling. I think that is a bit too leading. So if you have questions about the product, I'm happy to answer them.
How did you decide on the seaweed, and was there like a ratio that was important, or was it just whatever the witch put in?
So the seaweed was chosen because there was, I believe it's Glenmorangie, and I could be wrong, Dr. what's his face? He released Fruits of the Forest. Anybody know Fruits of the Forest? It's a scotch. I mean, who cares about that stuff? But like, it's a scotch. And it's called Fruits of the Forest, and the story, the romance behind the bottle was the distiller loves to walk in the forest, and he thinks to himself, what would the whiskey taste like if it tasted like my forest walks? And in the whiskey description, it talks about juniper berries being added to the whiskey, which you cannot do. You cannot flavor your whiskey with juniper berries.
What's gin?
That's a gin. Not even. Like, that's not even legally a gin. What is that? It's an abomination is what it is. And so what we did at Blackwater was, the distiller likes to take walks along the beach with his dog. What would the whiskey taste like if it tasted like the beach? The only legal way that we could think of to impart flavor to this whiskey would be add seaweed during the respiration phase as a water chemistry element, so that we're not flavoring it during brewing or mashing or fermentation or distillation.
So what's in the mash bill? I mean, there's a real sweetness.
Yeah, it's roughly about 50% malt. There's about 30% unmalted barley, 15% oats, which is our standard for us. Yeah, and there's about 5% turf in there, which gives you a little bit of that turf. A little bit of that smoke in the background. Just enough as a seasoning or salt. Yeah, turf.
Turf or
Oh, turfed. Yeah, turf malt, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would love to do it that way, but it would not be legally a whiskey new make if we put raw turf in there, no. When I say turf, I mean a turfed grain.
And has this gone into casks?
No. It was impossibly expensive. The sea witch fleeced the shit out of us. It was very expensive. I will never do it again. Ever. It was a fun experiment though, and we all know now that it's what it tastes like when you put seaweed in poitín.
So what happens to this? What are you going to do with what you made?
You drinking it now?
That's it.
That's it.
You sold some for a while, didn't you?
Yeah, we're still selling it.
When you said the respiration phase, can you explain what that is?
Yeah. So malting, we all know that the circle of life, right? The cycle of life for grain is you got a little seed, and under the right circumstances, moisture, temperature, it's like, oh my God, it's time to become a plant. And enzymes activate inside. It starts converting its starch. It puts out a little a rootlet called a chit. Maltsters will mimic this phase by putting the grain into water and encourage that seed to begin that process. That's part of the respiration. Respiration is where the grain is drawing in the liquid into itself. It's breathing it in, hydrating. So the water that has been dosed with the seaweed, that grain draws in that flavor into the grain itself. So that's the respiration.
So part of the malting as opposed to the fermentation.
Correct. Because if we put it in fermentation, it would no longer legally be poitín. So I can only assume the good doctor himself, who wondered about making whiskey tasting like juniper, probably did it this way. But I have yet to receive a confirmation from the company. They don't seem to want to talk to me about it. Marketing is a weird monster.
We had a question online. I don't think they heard me ask you, is there any barrel in it? People are loving it, but they ask, is there any barrel? So,
0 barrel.
0 barrel.
Yeah, 0 barrel. Yeah, I don't have any, like, is there a way for me to hear the
We're gonna monitor.
my translator? All right. Any other questions on Malt Namara?
When you said you would never do it again, was it purely down to price?
Oh, yeah.
Or-
Oh, yeah.
Well, the end result is really.
It was very expensive, and we are selling it for a bank robbery price. You're welcome. Yeah, no, there's no way. If we put it into a barrel, it would be way too expensive. I know that there are a lot of voices in the company. Mine is centered very firmly on accessibility. If it's too expensive, if I won't pay for that, then it's too expensive. And that whiskey, unfortunately, after 3 years, will become too expensive for me to purchase. Because I wouldn't purchase Fruits of the Forest either. That's some wankery, is what that is.
How much
Wankery.
does the 200ml bottle retail for? Just in terms of
25 euro.
€25?
It's a great little flask, fits in your back pocket. You can take it camping, which is what I do. And we have about 30, 40 more cases of it. And when it's gone, it's gone. And I will be bringing this up again at the end of the session, but just so you all know, we do have a code for all of you, since I didn't bring any product with me. You are most welcome to purchase any of our products online. All of our whiskeys are 10 euros off each. IWS 10 is the code for online purchasing. As well as, for yourselves and our audience online, you are all entitled to a free tour for 2 people. We have a code for that as well, which I can't remember off the top of my head. It's IWS 2020 something. I'll send you guys the information, and I'll pull it up on my phone here as well before we leave. But yes, it's a pretty good sale there. The 10 euro off each whiskey will be available until mid-October, and the code for the free tours will be available until January 1st of 2026, because we really would love to have you come down and see us and meet the true master distiller, Mr. Finnegan, who is about this high and farts a lot and has a lot of opinions about a lot of things. Those of you who have met him know, and those of you who have not, hopefully that will get you guys to come down and meet him. Any other questions on Malt Namara?
Why did you settle on 50% instead of ABV? Is there a reason for that? Or?
So way back in the day, a million years ago when I still had hair, I started in the distillation community as a moonshine distiller. And our standard was 50%. So it's a standard I know. I distill to that when I'm making new make. When I'm testing on a new make, it's 50%. So 50%.
That sweet spot, you think, then, for?
It just felt right. It was more of a gut thing. The aged stuff do have a percentage that we go to based off of kind of the aroma, palate, taste. But the Malt Namara was set at an ABV that was driven by moonshine, the moonshine culture.
Very nice. It's very good.
Excellent. I really like it. It goes camping with me. I go hiking with it. It's great. And the size of the bottle is perfect. It's 200 ml. It's enough for me. I don't know if it's enough for everybody, but it's enough for me to get the day going. And I'm not sure if you guys want to just kind of have some time with the whiskey, or we can move on to the next sample. I'm not in any rush. Is it all gone? All right.
We take a break after the third, so we can go with it.
Sorry?
We take a break after the third. So
Oh, perfect. All right, so we're just going to ram right through.
we don't run.
Excellent. Let me know if I'm going too fast for everybody, or I'm just dragging it out too much. Right, so the next sample is the full Irish, which is our blended whiskey offering. This is a blend of all 3 technical file whiskeys: grain, malt, and pot still. It contains all 5 of the grains listed in the technical file: barley, oat, wheat, rye, and corn. It's aged in Irish stout casks made from our good friends at Hopfully Brewing up in Waterford City. Everything is grown, malted, turfed, brewed, distilled, aged in Ireland. And is also brewed and distilled by 100% Irish people. It is all Irish all the time. It is our breakfast whiskey offering. It is 48.5%. The full Irish.
Is this core?
Huh?
Is this part of the core range?
This is part of our core range, yeah. Currently, we're selling this at 500 mil. We're hoping to expand it to 700 mil starting next year. As I'm sure you're all aware, Jameson's Caskmates and their stout cask offering became a bit of a problem. And that is a problem we're working right now to attempt to solve, because we'll probably be able to pull it off for a little bit, but long term, how do we scale that responsibly? Give us 10 years, I'll be dead by then, so I won't worry about it. Yeah, full Irish. 98 points at IWSC, and this year's Irish Whiskey Trophy winner, which is kind of flabbergasting, to be honest. I'll take it. Well done. Thank you.
It's a really unique, very creamy whiskey. Like I always get like almost I was saying a cream soda, like vanilla, but fizzy. Like it's that brightness to it. It's really nice.
It is kind of cream soda-ish, yeah.
A little bit of bitterness just in the back end, which cuts the sweetness.
I think there's also a little yeasty character as well. There is a hint of yeast in the background, which I like for like a lot of the beer finished.
And that comes from the beer, is it?
Yeah, from the stout. It's a very fine layer of yeast that is found at the bottom of the barrels. Any questions on the full Irish?
So remind me to get the mash bill for this?
I cannot give you a mash bill, unfortunately. Not because it's secret. There's no secret. It's just too complicated. So the pot still component is going to be 50% malt, 1 point something percent each of wheat, rye, and oats, because the current GI is bullshit. And they think that somehow 5% other cereal grain is somehow going to impart amazing flavor. So we did all 3 of the grains available to us in the pot still, which we call fugi internally. And fugi stands for fuck you GI. It also, interestingly enough, in Japanese, fugi means cuckold. So we have a lot of fond opinions about. Yeah.
So what's the proportion of the blend between?
30% each.
Okay. And then the pot still is not GI.
The pot still is GI.
Oh, okay.
We went full GI, so we could use the word pot still on the label. So it is pot still as defined by the 2014 GI, as defined by our good friends in Middleton. May they continue to reign forever. That's right. Yeah. Yeah, man, I'm saucy tonight. Sorry. Any other questions on the full Irish?
You mentioned turf twice with one bar and this, so where's the turf in the process? So I'm not getting any of
Oh, it's tiny. This one's very, very minute. It's just enough to say that we used it. It's about 2% of the total mash bill in the pot still component.
Peter Mulryan.
Correct. Yeah, peated malt on this one. Just so we have a little bit of turf in there, because we want to have the full kitchen sink in this particular blend. The full garden, as it were.
Do you have any opinion about the turf as to whether, it's salty lowland turf or highland turf?
That I don't know. So our previous floor maltster was Irish Craft Malts, who I'm not sure if you're aware have sold their company a couple of years ago. They were our sole source of turfed product. And I never asked them where they got the turf, aside from getting some general idea that it's like from their farm somewhere. That's as far as I have gotten. I have no specifics about the particular origins of the turf itself.
Yeah, they were based out of Trim, and they were literally just cutting it down. I went there once, and it was just literally 5 minutes away.
But with them having sold, we have issues with what we're going to do about Irish turf, because there's not a lot of opportunity for us to find floor malted barley with Irish turf. And I'm not interested in importing things from Scotland, because one of the key things about our operation is that everything is grown, malted, and brewed and or turfed in Ireland.
The way it should be.
The way it should be. We are very proud to be all Irish all the time.
Speaking of troubles with sourcing turf, what about hopefully folding now the Gypsy Brewery again? The Waterford operation is closed.
One more time?
Hopefully.
Hopefully, yeah.
From Waterford, they closed the operation.
Oh, I've not heard this.
Yeah, the Gypsy Brewing now. I don't remember.
Gypsy Brewing.
Yeah.
That might be why they've not responded to me recently about. Because I have said, hey, I've got some casks, and there's been like zero. Well, that also I got casks with them that I need back. Hopefully they.
He's on the next one.
I'm going to make a phone call real quick. I need to. Jesus. All right. Yeah. That's good to hear, because I actually need to deal with that when I get back to work tomorrow. I got casks over there, man. They were supposed to be full of beer, and I'm supposed to put whiskey in it, and they were going to be awesome. Got this great Saison cask whiskey that's aging. We're about 2 years in on the Saison cask from Hoffely, and it's epic. It is epic. Any other questions? All right. Next up is Odemic Oatface. This is a non-compliant pot still, and I'm going to lean really heavily on the non-compliant, because if we do get the rules changed to be 30-30 minimum 30, this is still not compliant, which is fine. We don't care about the rules. This is a really high concentration of oats. Half of them are malted and turfed, and half of them are raw. The rest is going to be your standard yield pot still unmalted barley and malt. And this is aged in maple cognac casks. So I refer to this also as a breakfast whiskey, because this is a very savory spirit. It is a bit salty, a bit bacony. It leans a bit more in that, like, I mean, this is even more full Irish than I think than the full Irish is. Yeah. It pairs really well with bacon and cabbage, which I can speak from experience. It's delicious. Yeah, you should get a good savory sweet thing going on in the background. We're at 47 some odd % on that. The Germans really love it.
It's really got like a savory cured meats kind of aged cheese, smoked cheese.
Yeah. It's very savory.
Like I can do this with a full Irish fry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Happy man.
It's good late morning brunch kind of style, yeah.
We don't drink at breakfast, we drink at brunch.
We drink at brunch. That's when it's legal. Legal drinking. Yeah. I'm big into the finish of it. The finish of this is something that I really enjoy. It's very oily and very viscous. And you get the maple syrup on the end of that, roughly in that like long end of it. 4 years. Any questions on Odemic Oatface?
Is that so?
Huh?
Is that on sale?
It is on sale, yeah. And right now, if you act now, it's €10 off a bottle of Odemic Oatface. And please do sign on to our mailing list and check out our website, because we have everything available for sale on there.
That's a big difference from the last one. So what you were saying is even more Irish breakfast than the last one.
Yeah.
So what's in your head when you're trying to come up with the next one? This is your Irish breakfast, and now you've done it.
It's a squirrel. It's a squirrel in a wheel that's just kind of running. You have like materials you got. I've got Peter on the other end who's talking history. We talk to the good doctor over here from time to time about history, and we try and find ways to make these things make sense from both a historical, traditional heritage end and a contemporary approach to the new Irish whiskey.
diluteness mouthfeel from this.
One more time.
The mouthfeel is more kind of diluteness.
Yeah.
But I don't get peeling on the nose, but I definitely get it on the palate. What's going on there?
One more time. I
I
got.
don't get peas on the nose, but I get it on the palate. What's going on with that?
It's a weird tarf element, right? For me, I get more like campfire smoke off of this, personally. The tarf is delivered through the oats instead of the barley. So it's carried differently. The composition of the two grains are different. Your oats are pretty heavy, right? They've got a lot of oil, they got a lot of fat, they got a lot of protein in them. They transition the oak, or transmit the oak a lot differently than you'll find with the barley.
That's why it's coming through more on the palate than the nose.
Sorry?
That's why it's coming through, for me anyway, more on the palate than the nose.
Yeah. It's less aromatic. I do get a lot of that campfire on the nose, but on the palate, on the finish, I get like that iodine peat. But most of it to me is like smoked, like a smoked whiskey that you would find out of the States. Yeah, you've not had any of those. Oh, dude. There's a whole tradition of smoked whiskeys stateside. None of them are turf. They're all wood fired. No, not at all. Yeah. Oh yeah. Just like working with a lot of rye. Oats are a problem. They can gum up the system. They can gum up your grain bed. They can also really dramatically dive down your yield. So a lot of oats are going to give you a much lower yield. That's why single malt gives you such a higher yield, because it's just pure malt, right? The diastatic power, that's very high. Big conversion, big starch.
On that point, so corn probably gives you the highest yield.
Yeah.
So what's the, like, when you go to wheats, oats, and rye, what's the ratio in terms of yield? So what's the
As you add more oats, it plummets.
Okay.
Rye is actually okay. Wheat is okay. Your oats are really where your sadness is located, and rye can give you a lot of sadness as well, depending on how you process them. If you don't have the right kind of rests or the right kind of enzymes to add into your mash, you can create a lot of glue, and glue is the devil. It's the devil's work. They say that a measure of a good rye is the volume at which a distiller curses while producing the product. Right. Any other questions on these three offerings? Any questions about Blackwater while I'm here?
Yeah, when you're doing oats, right?
Yeah.
Oats is infamously, you close everything down, you have so much clean. How long are you running this through before you're changing your mash bill?
One more time. I don't fully understand the question.
Run a mash bill before you go to a new campaign.
That depends. Our minimum is 5 casks, so five brews.
Okay.
And we do that so that we can compress those feints as much as possible to get as much of that kind of flavor, chunkiness out of it as we can. If we find a whiskey that we really like, we'll run it for another 5 casks, but it's a minimum 5 cask run. Okay. That's a 2-week campaign. So we're really small. We're producing 90 casks a year.
Like is 5 casks, you're doing 5 casks an hour? Or
It's no. It's 2 casks a week.
2 casks a week?
Yeah,
So you're that
yeah. We're tiny. We're a boutique, man. We're really small. Yeah.
It's good to hear.
5 casks, 1 IBC. 1 IBC is really easy number for us to measure and send up to Wexford for them to process and to put into 2 casks for us. If we were playing with fractions smaller than that, why would we? Why would we be doing that? That's a very silly notion to be doing a cask at a time. We have, however, having said that, done a cask of this or a cask of that, and we have done that because the idea of redoing that brew was beyond torture. So like we did a green malted whiskey, for example, which was delicious. It's Hunter 3 Ways, made with Hunter, 100% Hunter barley, so a heritage grain, and a third of that was green malted. It was wet when it arrived to us. It was unground when it arrived to us, and I spent 3 fucking hours with a sausage grinder this big, grinding 200 kilos of green malt. And I will never do that again. So there's 1 cask, and it was delicious.
And it was all yours.
And it's mine. None of you can have it.
What came through from the green malt?
A lot of mango, to be fair. It's very tropical flavor for the Hunter. I've not worked with green malt beyond that, so I can only speak from.
Colossal enzyme level.
Oh yeah.
It's never been drawn.
Are you asking for the yield?
What was the yield good?
It was huge. The yield was massive, but I'll never do it again. Like we got 2 casks worth. Some of that went on into the next running of the Hunter 1824. So I got kind of mixed out.
And did you leave the roots and shoots in it?
No.
When you were grinding it? Have they been chitted off?
I think so. It's been a hot minute since I've done that. That was several years ago. Remember, I've got 1 hamster running the wheel, so I have pictures and I could share those with you at some point. But yeah, they came to us. It was green and it was wet. It was 9 in the morning, and I had a sausage grinder, and that's as far as my memory goes outside the photographs. So it was mostly rage that was driving me that day. It was mostly rage. So I'll never do that again. And if you're thinking about doing it, I highly recommend don't do that unless you've got the right kind of equipment to run it, because it is a pain. But yeah, we don't have a hammer mill. Yeah, we don't have a hammer mill. But the yield was good, and it was delicious. It was delicious, but never again.
Did it ferment very fast?
Yes. All of our ferments though ferment roughly in about 72 hours. Just in general. No, I mean I wouldn't say it was faster in general. Just we're there, starting around 9:30. So all of our reads are done at 9:30 in the morning. I don't do evening readings. But I would probably say there would be probably a slightly more active fermentation. But our lab is very limited when it comes to those sorts of reads.
There might have been roots and shoots that you need was a high zinc.
It's possible. It's possible. It was delicious.
What matters?
That's what matters, but I'll never do it again. Never again. Any other questions about Blackwater or projects that we did that brought me great rage? Talk about the rye or something. Well, great. Well, I'll be here, I guess, during the break. If you have any questions, I'll be here.
All right, folks, we will. I think it's I don't have a watch on, so I've asked someone at the time. I think it's just after 7 minutes past, so we'll take about a 10-15 minute break, come back at 20 past. Okay? Cool. Okay, great.
Very fast, we're starting.
I know that.
You can be off camera if you want.
I'd love to come down with you guys too.
That's why I'm mentioning it to you. We talked about it. Like, it's still a project I want to do. It just hasn't happened yet, and it's driving me crazy. You know?
All right, folks. I've had some chats. I've heard some good things about the whiskey. I know we've got 3 more good whiskies, well, great whiskies, ahead of us. But first off, I think it's time to address the, not elephant in the room, the doctor, well, multiple doctors in the room, but there's a new doctor in the room, Mr. Finan O'Connor. You're up. And no one's willing to correct me when I just said Mr. Finan O'Connor. I could see his own face, but he wants someone to stand up on his behalf. Dr. Finan O'Connor, our very own.
I'm no longer Finan the White. I'm Finan of many colors. And you'll impress me this up.
We in the committees have a little. Well done, man.
So yeah.
That's taxpayers' money, by the way. I wanted to look into that Irish Whisk council.
Do you want to say a few words or just go back to drinking?
Speech.
Go on, take a little speech.
I'll keep it very brief, you know.
Are you ready?
You can get, 110,000 words of this for free for public download if anyone's curious. Both the current readers are very impressed. I know, yeah. But anyway, look, obviously the thesis has died in the wall from the society. We have a few of the folks that helped make it happen. Obviously Jack is sitting here somewhere, and there's been a lot of help all through the process. Anyway, look, I've talked about it enough in itself. Don't need to bore you all here tonight. Did you want me to talk about the casks?
Yeah, I was going to say.
All right. More importantly.
So basically, he's going to move away from us.
So yeah, we'll leave Dr. O'Connor over there where he belongs. Many of you already know I head up the cask and bottling subcommittee within the IWS, and Liam and Jack and several of the other members are here. So just a quick update to let you know. So we try and kind of get as much diversity into the kind of IWS library as we can. I really think the best days are ahead of us. We've been laying down these casks methodically for years. For those who don't know what we do, essentially the approach that we took was never to buy into a cask program, never instead to go to distilleries that are willing to do bespoke projects with us, Blackwater among them, and say, look, we're not a private customer. This is not a financial investment. We're a whiskey club, and we're looking to celebrate you in some way on your own terms. And we've really kind of pursued that policy, and it's aging through the system. But look, we're getting to the point where those are going to start coming out, and there's great years ahead, and it's been so much fun. But one of the things that was really missing from the kind of the library was we had some stuff that's lightly peated. There's definitely the one we have down in Blackwater. It's called Otish, and Otish was a random word I heard from a friend who's a lecturer down in UCC, but he's a Gaelgore, and he said that in the Rhine kind of Waterford dialect there's a word Otish, O Fada Tais, which means someone who doesn't kind of take a lot of showers. And we thought we'd have a very oaty whiskey down there and called it Otish as a kind of a Waterford nod. Now it actually tasted like really elegant and lovely and vanilla and bubbly and fun. But we'll see, and it's in sherry. But the two we've laid down for something very smoky. We're up in Donegal. So some of you might know the Blackwater distillery. We've wanted a cask from them for ages. And it was a little outside our price point, and we make no bones about playing the poor mouse because, we are just a club. We're a non-profit. But good Mr. O'Boyle was very happy to deal with us. If anyone ever had the Crater poitín, the first release, that very smoky poitín, we have a cask of that now laid down, aging into whiskey. So that'll be a lot of fun, and a big smoke bomb, big mossy smoke coming off that. The second one was down the road in the Crawley distillery, also in Donegal. Crawley direct flame cognac stills of all things. Really a peculiar operation. And they've been making malt and pot still, GI compliant, kind of split production down the two, and they did 1 month of peat last month, and so we kind of swooped in and said, like, look, if you're doing this once, we'd like one of those. So they sent us the peated malt and the peated pot still, and we bought the peated pot still. And again, you know, peated pot still is a kind of a great animal itself. You have that big texture, you have that oil, you have that cream, and you also get a bit of smoke. So there's more to come. Yeah, that's enough update for me. We'll get you back to the main stage.
I don't know how I'm going to top that, so I'm not going to try. Back to John.
All right. Hello again. Just to remind the committee, the Blackwater IWS cask is mature. As of a year ago. I do recommend a few more years with it, so it's extra sexy. But I must say that the sample that I have pulled is sexy already. So, as always, you are welcome to come down to us for a taste. I have 100 milliliters of it, so it's not like it's first come, first serve.
Have you got Jesus there as well?
That's right. I do have Jesus there as well. He canceled the rapture while he's waiting for this whiskey to be ready to be consumed. After which, all bets are off, and some of you will be, I'm sure, flying off to leave us behind with the rest of the whiskey. Speaking of the rest of the whiskey, we've got ourselves the 1953 Ruby Port, also codenamed Dead Pheasant. This is a very red, very port-forward pot still. We're going to use the word in parentheses because I am obligated by the state to inform you that it is not legally pot still at the moment, but it's pot still. And it is based off of the 1953 definition of pot still, 80% malt and barley, 15% oats, and 5% wheat. The malt and barley spread are 50% malt, and the rest is barley, 15% oats, and 5% wheat. This happy monster here is aged in port. It's 4 years old and is one of our orphan cask projects. We take our core whiskeys and we will do a spread of different casks and age in those casks to see what the results will be. Because we don't generally finish whiskeys in a cask. That is something that fancy people do, and we are not fancy. I'm not sure if you've noticed how unfancy I am. So if it says that cask, it was aged in that cask, and we deliver on the promise of the flavor of that cask. If you're not tasting port, let me know, and I'll go back to the distillery and cry.
How do you come up with the names is the least interesting part, but we've got, you know, Ultimate Goatface, Peter Mulryan, Dead Pheasant. Who?
It's all really crass millennial humor. Okay. It's all internet humor here. Peter Mulryan, which we'll get to, is actually a nod both to my childhood and also Trogdor. Anybody know Trogdor? Yeah, burning the peasants. Yeah, burning the countryside. Yeah, yeah, he burns in the night. Yeah, Trogdor. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%. So the names that we do put on our labels are based off of really sad millennial humor. Please forgive me. Many of the names that I have named these whiskeys have not made on the bottle because they are too crass. Like Mad Shite did not make it to a bottle. It's named Planksty Wilcox, which apparently the censors appreciate considerably more. Think of the children, everyone. Think of the children.
The whiskey-drinking children.
The whiskey-drinking children, the ones who are walking into the bottle shop, seeing that and going, "Mommy, what does that mean?" Yeah. That it has no turf. Zero turf. Yeah. It could be the ports, yeah. It could be, I mean, we hit you with a little bit of turf in the front end, and you may just still be experiencing those lengthy oil, I don't know. But there's no turf in the 53. This is one of our core products, minus the port. This is aged typically with a wood policy of 4 bourbon casks to 1 sherry cask. Of course, aged entirely in all of those and then married together. So we're using marriage casks. Sorry? I prefer the formalized wood policy. So 4 AB1s, 1 sherry, the 53 in its final component. 1,000 liters of this beautiful pot still is a really good contemporary expression of an older pot still style. We feel that it provides good service to the history of the product without having it lean too heavily into the 1824, which is aged fully in sherry. So we go for more of an afternoon delight to a dessert style pot still, both with big oats, big teeth, etc.
There's a very small percentage of wheat in this.
5%, yes.
Yeah. Is that a kind of premeditated decision, or is that something you have to go with for some other reason?
The definition of pot still in 1953, and our good doctor can tell you more about this at length. No, he's a good doctor. The good doctor. It was defined by the surviving pot still producers at the time. January 1st to 1953, the Department of Agriculture. Hey everyone, this is what pot still is. 80% malt and barley, 15% wheat, and 15% oats and 5% wheat. One of the core frustrations that we at Blackwater experience every day is how do we go from 20% of the cereal grains to 5% of the cereal grains in a span of 30 years, right? What happened? And why have we moved away from oats as the soul of Irish whiskey? Oats are the love letter to Irish whiskey. It is imperative. It is in everything that we do, practically. 15% oats. It is pure, unadulterated loveliness. I'm going to use a light, lovely word here. Loveliness. It is delightful. It's soft and wonderful. We should always be leaning more into oats as Irish whiskey producers.
The definition of pot still.
In the 2014 GI, yes, it is bullshit. Yeah, the good doctor I think agrees. That's why I so brazenly say it, because I have an academic here who can say it's true. Yes, but it is bullshit, and there is great effort right now underway from several bodies, interested bodies, working with the Department of Agriculture to establish new rules that will go to public commentary, government, Irish government, 20 years maybe, and then it'll go to Europe, and then European government, next lifetime, post-apocalypse, I don't know, but changes are coming. We're hoping that we will see positive movement, not just in the pot still category, but across the technical file as a whole. There's a lot of language that needs to be cleaned up. There's a lot of things that we need clarity on. Poitín, as an example, is a hot garbage mess in the technical file. It needs to be addressed. Not our personal lead, spear, but it is something that the Guild is looking at as well. We're getting there, one step at a time. Sorry?
When was maize introduced into Irish whiskey?
I don't know. But the good doctor, yes.
Maize has been in Irish column still whiskey since basically the 1860s. It's been there for a very, very long time, and actually for a long time in Scotch column still whiskey as well. So maize, you know, the big American grain comes over after the repeal of the corn laws. So you had, you know, familiar with Irish history, corn laws were basically prohibitionist or prohibitionary tariffs on non-UK grains that artificially inflated the price of harvest, basically. Having, you know, a dark history in this country because it wound up with how the famine played out, obviously, in a very grim way. And on the back of the famine, the corn laws were repealed. And as a side effect of that repeal, you had massive floods of grain suddenly coming into the then UK from either the Russian Empire or from the United States. And it completely changed the politics. It's responsible for the birth of white bread as a working class food. It's responsible for so many things that happen in the history of grain. But curiously, the 1860s is also when you get the column industry coming on tap, and you have equipment that's capable of processing massive amounts of grain very fast. Suddenly, you know, the column still from the 1830s to the 1860s was hampered by having to kind of use what was already here. And suddenly you get this supply line, and that's when you really get that channel in. So Victorian grain whiskey in both Scotland and Ireland is heavily, heavily maize-based. You then start getting kind of rye put in for the bizarre reason in itself. They all start basically becoming yeast propagators, and the rye mash is being farmed for yeast. At its height, actually a more lucrative part of their business model than the grain whiskey itself. And then in the 20th century, you know, it's the history of international bread politics. You know, the wheat for the first time in the 20th century becomes cheap enough that you can put in columns, and that happens in Scotland, and it doesn't really happen in Ireland. And that's where you start seeing. So maize has been in Irish column still whiskey for a very, very long time, and almost always foreign. Pot still rebels against this. You know, they start. It's not just that it's distilled in a pot still. A lot of these old ads you see in pubs, they have. You know, if you've ever seen the one with the Tyrconnell ad with the two horses racing, and one says Irish bread fed on barley, and then the other one is kind of limping along and says American bread fed on corn. And you know, this idea that maize is not indigenous to Ireland, that it's a cheap material, is wrapped up in the whole kind of pure pot stillism and that kind of
story of found in the Indian meal.
Yeah. You know, Peel's brimstone. You know, that idea that almost a kind of a despair around maize. And it pops up quite a bit. And one of the things that they're keen to stress about Irish pot still whiskey is that it doesn't have maize in it. And you know, when you have the big showdown, the 1908 trial, they're asked, they say, well, what are the other grains? Oats, wheat, and rye. And so this document here in the 1953, if anyone's curious, it takes 5 minutes to get a library card, National Library of Ireland, across the river on Kildare Street, the manuscripts reading room. They have all the old Locks Distillery files. And the Locks Distillery stuff is interesting for itself, but this document is in the IPDA box of the Locks Distillers, the Irish Pot Still Distillers Association, and it just happens to be Locks copies of the files that were sent around. And that was the internal organisation that was Jameson, Cork Distillers Company, i.e. Paddy, Powers, Tullamore, and Locks, when there were only 5 of them. And they submitted a document to the government in 1953, 2 years after the 1951 Irish Whiskey Act, trying to explain what they did. And it says very clearly, and actually it has a great opening, it says, the distillers of Ireland, who flourished in the Middle Ages without government intervention, you know, blah, blah, blah. And they kind of lay out their process. And a lot of them, so if you lay stock down in 1953, that's what 1967-year-old whiskey is, you know. So one thing this kind of confirmed to me, this document was, you know, and I found later evidence of this after the fact from distillery daybooks, but at the time it's a big revelation. Literally all, you know, the core IDL blends branch became blends in 1968. So it's a very narrow window, you know, when we have these society tastings where we have old Bow Street or old Powers or old, you know, what you're tasting is a mash not dissimilar to this. This is what a lot of them were doing by the 1950s. So a little variation, obviously. This is the 5 of them announcing something to the government. It's a kind of a compromise, but it is very encore for a lot of what the old excellent bottles are. Okay.
Exactly what John would have said.
What he said. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, so 53 is an important year, and it's a pot still style that we at Blackwater focus on because it is the last formal definition of pot still to any government agency before the train wreck that found its way to Europe. And it is one of the things that we're working to correct. Now, granted, the 53 definition will not be what is going to be on the table, which I think is good, because 5% wheat, meh. 5% anything is a whole lot of meh. You get a hint of something, great. But I believe very firmly in the delivery of the promise of something. If I say it is blah, then you should be able to at least receive the promise of blah, right? If I say it tastes like goat curry, it better taste like goat curry, or you can ship me packing back to the States. They won't take me though, unfortunately. I'll get sent to El Salvador. Please don't do that. All right, so 53 port. Any other questions on the 1953 history of real pot still?
Oh, it's delicious. Yeah.
Excellent, thank you. Right, well then what comes next is another point in time. This is 1824. So what I refer to as our bookend, because we made two main core products over the past 7 years. 53, which is our main one, because it's the last formal definition, and then 24, which is, well, in a time where records weren't really as strong as the 53 document. So we kind of made a lot of guesses in the 24. I mean, this is back in the day, and correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. O'Connor. This is back when they were using corn, the word corn, as a defining, it's meaning anything, right? You know, anything besides barley.
Common kind of source of confusion, because the word corn originally means grain. It means anything but kernel. An American corn or Indian corn, it is brought over as an Americanism here in the 20th century. And so it's only, you know, as many of you probably already know, you go down to like Donegal and places, and they still talk about bringing in the corn as the harvest. You know, it used to just mean grain, and it's only the march, the inevitable march of American English that has, you know, made what used to be called Indian meal in Ireland, or Indian corn, or American corn, you know, but then corn just means just grain, you know, as it did for most of the history. Same, you know, it's a German word, if I'm not mistaken, for grain. You know, it's the same. You know, it's the same root as kernel.
It's like the corn dollies people make. They're not from, they're from like, you know, the
Yeah, exactly, from the straw. Well, even like you look at like in the Liberty's corn market on Thomas Street, same, that was the old grain market. You know, it's not like we're selling maize, so we're selling, you know, tillage. So it can cause some confusion, but you know, maize is a measure of anything.
Yeah, so the 1824 is a lot of guesswork on our part, based off of a document that Charlie Roche, I think, gave us to us. Back when I first moved to Ireland, it was in 2018. This was in 2019. Our tasting of New Make was in 2019. This is when I got the document from him. And we made 10 casks to 20 casks of it a year as a bookend, as kind of a call and response to the 1953, if you will. And as a side note, speaking of maize and other cereal grains, which are mentioned in, of course, the technical file, one of these days, when I actually have permission to do this, I am hoping to make a corn pot still, because it is technically, legally, a cereal grain, and so is rice. And Ireland needs a rice whiskey. I cannot wait for the wailing and lamentations of the industry. Yeah.
Is that not sake?
Sake, yeah, sake, yep. And if you distill it, you got shochu, or what's the Korean version of that? You got baiju, which is with sorghum, right? And I think that's a cereal grain as well. So a lot of cereal grains that are not included in the technical file, but just because they're not included doesn't mean that they aren't cereal grains, right?
Exactly.
So quinoa is that a pseudo grain? Pseudo cereal, or is it a cereal grain? Spelt, yeah, sorghum spelt. People have done it. There is a quinoa whiskey out of the States, and it's delicious. What?
Have you tried it?
Out of Nashville, Corsair,
Was it Nashville?
Bowling Green in Kentucky.
I don't know. It was our president at the time, John Shirley, did an American whiskey tasting, and he had a quinoa, and he had a buckwheat one as well. That was great.
Was it Corsair?
Yeah, it was good there.
It was Corsair, and it was bad. Oh no.
No, it was good.
It was good. They didn't like it. They didn't like it.
Each one their own.
So yeah, 1824. This is aged in port. So it's another port. This one's tawny versus the ruby. High oats. Bookend at 53. It's also 4 years. Yeah, everything you had here is a minimum of 4 years old. PMD will be the first one that you'll have here at the very end. That's 5 years on the bottle. But yeah, we don't typically release anything younger than 4 years at this stage. Starting next year, everything should be a minimum of 5 years old.
Is it for sale?
No. No. This is just a, hey everyone, try this. I believe this cask might be earmarked for a private sale, but I'm not really sure. I stay out of that end of things. I'm the troll that lives under the bridge.
Hide away some of it.
Yeah.
Hide away some of it so it doesn't go. That's really
I mean, it's outside of the family, so if it's an orphan cask, I'm happy to send it off. It'll go to college. It'll be a doctor or something. But
Did you say that there's the regular version of this that's all sherry?
yeah, the 1824 is aged exclusively in sherry. The most recent edition of that has all sold under the name of Clashmore. Clashmore is gone. Next year, hopefully, there'll be another single cask of Clashmore available for purchase. And I'm sure at that point, when we do our next tasting, we can offer you 10 euros off the next bottle.
It might be 12.50.
That's right, it might be 12.50, I don't know.
So is the 1824 port or sherry?
This one is port, but the standard is sherry.
What kind of sherry?
I don't know, sherry. The thing is, and let's be fair here, when I order casks, my brokers will typically tell me sherry or port. And when I ask them, where is it from? Who is it from? Oh, well, they don't want you to have their name. They don't want their name on the bottle. And I'm like, yeah, but it would be nice to know.
The sweetness is completely different.
It is, but like the brokers are.
Cortado across to Malaga.
I agree.
And back to San Luca de Bermuda.
I agree, but unfortunately, my brokers are cartel. So I get.
We'll edit that part out.
Yeah. You hear me, brokers? You hear me? I'm upset. Yeah, no, it is. Like I get what I get, and very few of them are willing to give me a lot more information. For example, my rye that I released last year, I put it in. I know it's Spanish. I know it's Tempranillo. I know it's from the Del Duero region. I have no idea anything beyond that. No matter how many times I've asked for that information. However, the 1953 French, which won't be released here because it'll be released in France. It's a partnership with some chateau. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. Chateau something. It's Bordeaux. I know that. But yeah, I wish that my brokers were a bit more upfront with me about the details, even with bourbon, right? What was the grain bill in this bourbon? And they will not tell me. They won't even tell me where the bourbon comes from. I have to find out from the barrel face. We are a boutique distillery. We produce 90 casks a year. We are the lowest of the lowest rung of our broker's interest because I'm not buying containers. So I get what I can get. And I won't argue with them too hard because I need the casks. Which reminds me, I need to call, hopefully, they have casks that hopefully still are fresh. Because I have beer that I need to put whiskey into. I know it's a sidestep to the question, but I don't have an answer. I wish I did. But you're welcome to email, and I can do the digging and see if I can get more information. But when they tell me sherry, they just tell me sherry. As far as I get. I put my nose in it if it helps, so I do smell it, and it smells okay.
So can I just on that point? Do
deface the barrel head to remove the details,
Yeah.
or is it you get
I get a cask that has nothing on the face. I get no, with the exception of bourbon. Bourbon will come with writing on it. So things that'll tell me like the producer. I may have like the TTB code where it tells me like when it was laid down, what it's not batch. There's a word, not zone. It's called the. I've been outside of the U.S. for a long time. It's called the. It's a thing, you know. It's the 14E, you know, the date, whatever. It's the. Doesn't matter. Yeah, it's a code on the front that you can tell a lot from the bourbon. It gives you the date it was filled, but it also gives you, and there's a word I'm looking for here, where it was placed in the warehouse. The
rack, the rickhouse?
No, there's a word I'm looking for here, and it's not coming to my brain. I have one hamster, and it's running overtime. The what? No. It will. On the train home, I'll be like, oh yeah. We work with about 15 brokers when it comes to our casks. So I pull what I can, and I get the information I can. I wish I had more information about our casks, but like we're small and we get what we can get, and at least they smell okay.
Yeah, it is very good. Absolutely.
No.
Saying we had a mead tasting last week, and the people that like give casks like blackout audience.
They covered it with the Ukraine flag. It was just the start of the Ukraine war, Russian war in Ukraine, and they blacked out all the details with blue and yellow.
This is what you won't let them know anything about the cask of putting their mead in.
The sherry houses are kind of acting a little weird too. A couple of years ago, they passed, I think, a rule that you can't use the word sherry without permission. Now, I could be misunderstanding the rule.
They changed the rule that you must treat the casks with sherry in Spain.
Oh, is that the rule?
You can't bring in a tank of sherry and sherify
Oh.
bourbon casks here.
I certainly wouldn't do that.
It's like sherry is controlled by
A cartel.
organization. Well, what do they call it? The Consejo or whatever. And for the first time in the history of sherry, like 2 years ago, the Consejo took an interest in sherry cask treatment, not just the making of sherry.
Because they were selling more casks.
Yeah, and so there's now for instance, like for treatment, there's now like a 12-month maturation period that has to be for to be called sherry treated. There's a whole process, but I just happened to be in Jerez like a month ago, and they were drunk off this decision that like the Consejo have suddenly taken an interest in cask treatment, and they got this new, it's a whole document of like, to be called a sherry cask it has to be X months in sherry, it has to be this, it has to be that, but a lot of it is like, yeah, trying to control, you know, that it happens in Spain and that it happens for, what they were finding, the big problem was that they were finding that there were casks going around that had kind of gotten a little whiff of sherry and were being called sherry casks, and you know, some of these brokers were being very liberal with the
Did
term.
they tell you that after 2 treatments they were selling the sherry as Emperor or branding?
Yes, yeah, and after that it's vinegar. Yeah. A lot of it gets sold as you know, and they were quite upfront that like a lot of the sherry that seasons whiskey casks is destined to become vinegar, not sherry.
But Emperor or brandy sells 27 million.
Yes, all you know, Fundador, all the brandies, the brandy de Jerez is the money maker down there.
Well, thankfully, none of our sherry casks are vinegar, but I do smell those casks, so at least we don't have that.
What is the 1824 mash bill?
1824 mash bill, I don't have the percentage off the top of my head, but it is a considerably higher percentage of oats, just shy of about 25%, roughly. And then it's 50% malt and the rest is barley. Right. Most of our whiskeys will rest at the 50% malt end of things. Our brew house is very rudimentary, unfortunately. So yield is important, and our yield, whenever oats are involved, is absolute garbage. So unfortunately, we have to be a bit higher on the malt. I know that some pot still heads are very excited about high barley concentrations. we would sink if we were doing high barley, unfortunately. I just don't have the brew kit for it. If you have 12, 24 million though, let's talk, because I have plans for a really lovely brew house that'll chew through anything. Be great, including corn. Now introducing corn pot still. Coming one day, once I get that mash system. Either one. I'll take the 24. Yeah, that one comes with chandeliers. I would love to. Unfortunately, our farmer who was doing all the floor malting for us has retired and sold their company. I have looked at systems that could be semi-automatic, because it's just me. I'm one person, and as much as I would love to also be floor malting, I ain't got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. So I am looking at systems for that, and I would like to do that. I would love to have a broader spectrum of malted products available to us to play with. One day, 24 million. Anybody got 24 million? As part of the plan. Yeah. Yeah, Riverbend, right?
Could be.
In Asheville? They were the first, Riverbend, I think, was the first malting facility to open up out there back in 2010.
Do about a half ton.
Half ton? Yeah, it's not them. Like now this may be a new system, but Riverbend, I worked with some of their stuff way back when, back 2011, 2012. Yeah, I'd love to hear more about those guys, because there's a lot of cool stuff happening in the Appalachians, especially as you go down towards Asheville, South Carolina area. Ignoring the distillation rules that you have to deal with those sorts of products. Any other questions about 1824 before we move into the final products? Pete the Magic Dragon Part 2, Return of the Dragon, is our Trogdor. This is a single malt, single cask strength, high turf monster of a dragon, aged in apple brandy casks. It is fruity and sweet and fiery and heavy at 59%. It's a lot of smoke and a lot of burninating the peasants. Yeah. Burninating the peasants.
Apple brandy.
Apple brandy. Yeah.
So, as someone who set up the room, right, this smelled much peatier, turfier when we were pouring it. Now that it's had time to breathe, it's much more apple. It's much more desserty, fruity, sweet.
It presents itself very well. You know, it is a bit misleading. At this strength, I think it performs its best. As you alluded a little bit, you get some more of the turfy iodine chemical stuff that comes out for your heavier smoke stuff. But at cask strength, it's a lovely presentation. Malt. Single malt. Yep. It's a big old chunky malt monster.
So, you're setting this up like Peter Mulryan Dragon and it's going to be like Japanese peat. It's not going to do
Yeah, well, I mean,
you know, like something that you might say, like, get the Scotch profile that's being sold at smoking.
it's Irish turf, which I find to be considerably more gentle, more floral, a lot more approachable. We're also not digging very deep. Our farmer wasn't going super deep into the turf pits. And we use 50% of our mash bill with the turfed smoked barley. And it comes out really, really lovely. Yeah, it's inoffensive. I mean, it is burning it in the peasants. You know, Trogdor will rise in the night. You have to show the video for you, like, fully to understand, you know, what I'm talking about here. Burning it in the countryside.
What age did that one be?
5 years. So our first age statement product. So this has a 5, you know, big old smack dab in the front. Starting next year, everything will be 5 years old. I'm hoping that PMD3, the dragoning or whatever we call it, will be you know, your 6-7 year old mark. So we may not have a PMD released next year, but I do know that next year's PMD is in mead casks. Mead.
From where?
Spain, and that's as much as I know.
And we have a Conseil Leadery.
Well, I did call them. I called them, and that is as much as I'm going to say. I did call them.
Is the other brandy cask Irish or French?
French.
Calvados.
I don't think it was Calvados. It was just it was listed to me by the broker as apple brandy, and I know it was from France. The oak is French, but I wish I knew more about the casks. And one day, when I have infinite money, act now. I can actually hold the cartel up, you know, to the wall and get what I want specifically. But we're small.
It gives it a lovely, bright
I agree. Last year's version was in cherry brandy, which was really dark and sultry. Cherry brandy, yeah. What I'm looking for, if anyone has any contacts for it, is plum. Yeah. Anywhere. I don't care where it's from. I just want cast plum brandy. So if anyone has any contacts in the Czech Republic, I could, yeah, because I need some casks that held plum brandy for the next batch of PMD. PMD4, yeah. I mean, I would never turn down like plum brandy. I love it stuff. Yeah. It'll be much better than what I have, which is in a plastic bottle, which I think is pretty traditional for like the countryside stuff. Yeah.
I have both of them. Like I have traditional plastic, but I also have.
Oh, send both. Send both. I'll taste them both. Yeah. Yeah. I do want to know where it comes from. It's very important. Any other questions on Pete the Magic Dragon 2?
I have a general question. So, I always thought the whiskey was on the west side.
On the what?
The west side of the island, rather than the east side.
That we were on the west side. No. The Blackwater River does originate like way out there towards Tipperary somewhere, like outer Tipperary, near the some geography people help me. It's the pass that people do. It's got a lake. Tipperary is where it originates, but we are located in West County, Waterford, in Ballyduff Upper. Not to be confused with Ballyduff Lower, which is in the northern part of Waterford. Yeah, there's two Ballyduffs. Yeah.
Speaking of East Coast and West Coast, anyone smell a bit of West Coast?
There, yeah, it's very strong. I'm sitting here itching. I'm like, oh man, I miss it. Right. Any other questions on Pete the Magic Dragon 2 or Blackwater or my amazing hat?
What's under the hat?
Baldness.
Awesomeness.
Well, also that, yes. The hamster that runs the brain. Sorry? The design of the bottles. Yeah, they're floating around.
One here anyway.
Yeah, so.
Everyone's seen this one.
Lovely, very lovely.
So the fist is a carryover of the manifesto that we did, a 4-pack taster. Man, that is really strong. Who is out there smoking the reefer so much? Woo, man, it is. I think it's the 3 lads over here in front of the window. Yeah, man, it's strong. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. So, woo. Yeah. So the fist is a carryover from the manifesto. It is kind of part of our rebellious nature, raising a fist in rebellion to the rules that currently exist, holding sheaves of barley and other grains. I know, right? I'm gonna be so stoned after this, man. That's strong. Jesus, that is way more than 5%. Huh? Oh no. PMD has nothing to do with marijuana. The bottle also contains writing from my own notebook. So all of the chicken scratch that you find written besides the fist is from my own journal. If you can read it, I'll be really surprised. I was told I was supposed to be a doctor, not like you, but like a medical one, like I write prescriptions. No, I could never replace the good doctor. It's designed like that to be a bit more contemporary, to have a bit more personal touch to it. Yeah.
Can I ask you a question? It's been bothering me all night, right? So Irish Whiskey Society is all about that. There's a big E, and it's in big E and green. And you are all about no E in all of your whiskey.
So, in the technical file, Irish whiskey can bear 3 designations. The first one is whiskey with an E, that we are told in every fiddle-dee-dee tour that you go to, that every large thing, everything is triple distilled and everything is spelled with an E because that's what differentiates us from Scotland. I happen to be here to tell you that a fucking border differentiates us from Scotland, right?
Well, technically.
Yeah. Well, okay, listen, yes. A border doesn't, right? It's about the border. This is Ireland, we make Irish whiskey. Whatever they do over there on their island is none of our concern. How they spell it, how they drink it, how much bagpipes they play around it, doesn't matter to us and should not impact any of our thinking about what we're doing here, right? Including spelling. Yep. The other way is without an E, which is in print in the technical file. It's a rule, right? The other one is in Irish, which I personally believe should be how we do it, always. But that's a personal opinion. Reclaim the language, right? Even though I don't speak it, but we should do it, right? Yeah, that's right. I can read it, but I can't speak it. But yeah, I think that we should be using it more often. We should be using more Irish in our labels. Personal opinion. But we use the spelling without an E to ensure that it belongs to us still. It is not theirs. And nor can they claim it, and nor can marketing force us to give it away. That's why we spell it that way. Yeah. Thank you. That's right. Any other questions? Before I start rising the tricolor,
Oh, sorry. All right, folks. Look, John will be here for the folks who are in the room. We'll leave the stream online for folks who are online. If you want to ask any questions, throw them into the chat. We'll ask them to John and get you an answer. I'd just like to say a round of applause. Thank you. And a much briefer round of applause for our secondary presenter, Dr. Fionnuala O'Connor. At some point, I was like, that man's been talking for 5 minutes. I should really hold a microphone beside him. So,
It's actually now O'Connor spelled with an E.
I know that Blackwater make a lot of different styles of whiskies, and not everything will be to everyone's taste. Some things will be to everyone's taste. 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 might be to some people's taste. So I'm just going to ask a quick show of hands, not a formal vote, show of hands of your favorite. The number one, the one you would with your €10 gift voucher.
On sale now.
On sale now. What one would you go out and buy immediately?
Are we going to do by row and then overall favourite?
We'll do by row and overall favourite.
Will I buy? And that's my favorite.
Oh. Well then, so we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then the winner versus the winner. So, Malt Namara, hands up. So we're gonna do so it's gonna go your favorite of whiskies 1, 2, and 3. Yes. Okay, so top row, Malt Namara has 12, 13, 14, 15. Does the full Irish? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 strong votes.
Wow.
And 4 and Oaty McOatface.
All right.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Yeah. I think it's about equal between Malt Namara and Oaty McOatface. Maybe a touch to Oaty McOatface. And that's only because I have my hand up.
Online vote for Oaty McOatface.
Online vote for Oaty McOatface. Of the second row, this 1953 port. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and 9 and 10. Okay. 1824, the cask strength. 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. By the maths, we know that one's 1. But Pete the Magic Dragon. 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So, unless my vote counts for 9 votes, I think the winner there was 1824. Who would have guessed that the IWS votes for the cask strength highest ABV on the map? I never would have guessed. So, 18.
If anyone's curious, the Omish is actually a riff on the 1824.
It is.
It's not a similar man.
Yes!
And it is delicious.
So
you can always come down and visit and taste it. Just say you're with the society, and I'm more than happy to have you taste the sample I do have until it's gone. There's 100 ml. There's not much of it, but in a few years, I do recommend taking a look at maybe harvesting it.
Okay. So I'm going to ask, if you were to buy a bottle of one of these 2 whiskies, the 3 or 5, Oaty McOatface, show of hands. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oaty McOatface versus 1824. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 online votes. 16 votes for online, so it's without online, sorry. And now, I mean, 1 vote online, so 17. And then the 1824 port and cask strength. And the predictable show of hands from these degenerates who love their cask strength whiskey. We love them though.
Sorry to disappoint, it doesn't exist. It's not for sale.
The whiskey you can't. The whiskey you can't buy. Look, I'm just going to say thanks. It was a fun little evening. It was very nice little whiskeys. I know we had a good time. Round of applause to John.
Thank you very much. I can give you guys a couple of codes if you want some codes now. We can also send some codes for you to distribute for those of you who are present. For you to come down and visit us. You know, we love the visitors. Free tour for 2 persons. IWS 2025 is 2 complimentary tickets for a distillery tour and tasting expiring the 31st of December. And then IWS 10, IWS 10, will give you €10 off full Irish, PMD2 and Odie McOatface online purchase or on site until the middle of October, shipping to Ireland and Northern Ireland only.
For those folks in the room, ask your questions to John.
10 or TN or 10?
10.
Yeah, 10, yeah, sorry.
For those folks online, we're going to turn the camera around to look at the room as all these people leave. And you can ask questions in the chat. And if you have any questions, we'll pass them on to John.
I'm free of the mic.
Now you can tell us what you really think about Irish distillers. Now you can tell us what you really think about Dimmelton.
Goes away, right? Go away. Go away.
I'll tell you, I'll bring you back some.
Oh yeah, it was really good. I wasn't expecting that. That was not
Help.
It's gone.
That's why I mean, there's nothing to say about going and I'm going to drive him down tomorrow morning. Have you had my wife? No, she's gone too. She's off the market as well.
It's sold out.
So that's I got caught. We're trying to understand you're that small. We're tiny.
Where's Big Crack? You can take the afternoon tomorrow, you can have me on that. Hang out, show
the chicken cast.
Okay, cheers. I'm at home. That's right, yeah.
I'm going to be down again, and it's great to be down. I'm saying that the business number. Oh, yeah. No, but actually last year I was down before I was down with Dawn. No, I wasn't down this year. No, I was down at the original, the fit in the cask, and then I was down for the, I was down with my daughter on anniversary. That was actually about a year ago.
There's so much going on. It does, yeah, it's kind of how we're wired.
Okay, great, yeah, happy together.
Why are you on the phone? Girl, all you can. I wish I had more information for it.
So when I, like, do you remember Blackwater, Nasser, whatever?
Oh yeah, I can see it.